Hello, friends and family. It's yours truly. I'm on my lunch break, and I want to do this long thread response because I'll be busy tonight with band and other stuff. Before I do the thread response, I want to just say to Dr. Strangely Strange, he had asked what I thought of Half Cousin, and I really like this. And as it turns out, it's on the Gronlund label, which I like. I had actually tried to get on the label. They turned me down flat. But I was researching the label because I really liked it. And when I went back to research Half Cousin, it turns out I had heard this because I looked up the video and forgot because I absorbed so much music. But I remember seeing the video. Oh, I remember this song now. Yeah, I really like this. I really like this. You know, kind of an interesting hybrid of folk and rock. This is really good. I just wanted to let you know. So, Jeff Record Man, Jeff, you shouldn't. I shouldn't say this, but to pick me, it's kind of predictable. But anyway, thanks, man. So this is the continuation of the long thread that was started by SublimMedia, where you kind of, you piggyback off of the last person. And Jeff set me up to piggyback off of Lon and Dereck Van Eaton, brother, on Apple Records. Yeah. There's one song on here I really like. Overall, I don't really like this album. More Than Words. I think that's a good song. So what I decided to do was, there are many different ways that you can do the thread. You can go any direction you want, just making some connection from one record to the next. So I did what comes natural to me. As a train spotter, I've always been interested in who's playing what, who produced, who engineered. Do I recognize any of the names? And one of the players on the Lon and Dereck Van Eaton band album, or rather album, is Mike Hug. Mike Hug plays, is it electric piano? Or is it, he plays harmonium. Mike Hug plays harmonium on here. Well, who's Mike Hug? Mike Hug was also in Manfred Mann, Chapter 3. So there's the connection to this album. And he's a keyboardist, and a fine keyboardist, and I credit him along with Manfred Mann as coming up with the sound of Chapter 3. This is my favorite version of the Manfred Mann band. This is my favorite version. So then I made the connection to this through Mike Hug, and I thought to myself, well, let me keep going on the same vein, which is, so what's the next connection? Well, who else plays on this album? Well, Steve York is the bass player on here. And Steve York is an English bass player who's done a lot of work in some surprising places. And one of the surprising places that Steve York shows up is on Marianne Faithfull's Broken English. He plays on this, and I believe he may have co-written. I have to look. Pardon me, I'll put my clunky glasses on. He may have helped to write Broken English. Yep, he co-wrote Broken English. So I thought, wow, this is fun, because this is what I used to do as a teen to kill time, was just to read everything and to look for connections. And as you know, as life goes on, you lose that interest and that time and the ability to do those things. So this was fun to get back to my roots. So Steve York from Manfred Mann co-wrote Broken English, plays on this, and I thought, okay, well, who else is on here? Well, one of the musicians on here is Morris Pert, and his name is misspelled on here. They have him spelled as Maurice, but his name is Morris, M-O-R-R-I-S. He's an English percussionist who died a couple years ago, who's done a lot of really cool stuff. So Morris Pert is on here, and I decided to find something else that he played on, and I chose Nick Turner's Sphinx, Exit Into Today. And Nick Turner, as you know, was in Hawkwind. Morris Pert, members of Gong, play on this really rather obscure, strange album. Seems to be steeped in, arcana from the past, dealing with Egyptology and stuff like that. And I haven't really deciphered it. I just know this is a cool album on my favorite label of all time, Famous Charisma. There's a book that comes with it that It just has all kinds of babblings about the stuff, and I haven't read it in a while. But so those are the connections I made. Now, the next person can take any direction he wants to. And I decided to not be very obvious. I think there are a lot of people in the vinyl community that are not connected. Not that we all have to be. But I'm going to send this one out to someone who I think is pretty knowledgeable from what I've seen. And I believe his moniker, I'll send him a personal message, is Guess I'm Just a Spud Boy. That's who I want to send this long thread to. Guess I'm Just a Spud Boy. I notice when you show your records, you appear to be very knowledgeable about the records. I also notice that you have some very cool collectible records in your collection. Some very nice titles. So this is going next to Guess I'm Just a Spud Boy.